Good afternoon. It is Tuesday PM, and I'm managing to get out for a little bit of a walk while the rain isn't raining, because it has been grim all morning. Absolutely horrendous, pissing it down. I think it actually started last night at about 5 o'clock, and it only stopped about an hour ago. Needless to say, it is very, very wet underfoot. And just bear with me while I don't trip over this rather muddy little place. But yeah, first day, as I mentioned from last week's video, the way that ended. Today is the first day of photo shoot prep. First day with reduced calories, hunger already present, but I actually quite like it. There's something quite, I've been in this phase of growth for 7-8 months, food going up and up and up. And there's just something that the feeling of hunger, which most people really try and avoid, I actually love it. Like, I love to embrace it. It just creates focus. You know that if you are feeling that hunger, it's a pretty good indicator that you're doing the right things, especially where fat loss is concerned. You know, you're expending that energy. Your body wants more of it, but to not give in to that craving, to not give in to that temptation to just stuff your face. Yeah, I just think there's something really nice about it. It's also pretty cool when it comes to one of the best things to do when it comes to, like, not avoiding hunger, but I guess managing it, is staying busy. And I do often tend to find that when I'm going through phases of fat loss, I just get laser focused. I think you just lose yourself a little bit more in, like, what you're doing day to day. Sorry, nearly got run over again. People really don't want to stop in the road. Where was I? Yeah, just absolutely laser focused, and it just really sort of enables that to happen. I do just love it. The phases of growth are absolutely necessary. Like, if you want to add some muscle, you need to commit to those phases. You need to see body weight go up. You need to see body composition change, and you need to allow plenty of time for them. If I wasn't turning 40 this year, if I wasn't very focused on sort of marking this occasion with a photo shoot, if it hadn't been 3.5 years since I'd done a photo shoot, I would probably just be continuing to grow potentially for the rest of this year, really just trying to maximize that phase. But having something like the shoot there, a little something to mark my 40th year on the planet, and the fact that it has been 3.5 years since I've done one, really, really, really looking forward to it. It's a different situation for me now, obviously with Louis, trying to manage being a dad, and everything that comes with that around the dieting process too. But, it's another new challenge, and it's something that I'm, like I say, very, very much looking forward to getting stuck into. So it is day one. Things are kicking off as much as they're going to today. There aren't any changes to things like cardio and steps. It's very much, or training, just continue as I have been. The changes have come to the diet this time around. So we'll make those happen. We'll do the necessary, and we'll get a good chunk of weight off this week. So today, the thing I didn't really want to happen has happened. What am I? Let me just stop these headphones. It's Thursday today. My shoot prep diet started on Tuesday. And this isn't because of the shoot prep diet, by the way, but I've managed to get sick today. I'm just trying to get out for a little bit of fresh air whilst it's not absolutely chucking down, because for like the next week or two, it's not looking good weather-wise. So any little opportunities to get some fresh air, we're going to try and take them. But yeah, I've managed to wake up with a little bit of those flu-like symptoms. The aches are coming in, a bit of a bunged up head. Just not feeling too great at all. And I think it was probably inevitable in some ways. Our childminder hasn't been very well herself. She's going to the doctors today. Louis had a bit of a runny nose. One of the other girls at the childminder's coughing and spluttering. So yeah, probably inevitable that we were going to see somebody get sick, and it's happened to be me, which I never ever used to get sick, but since having Louis, kids are just absolute little germ factories. Not that it's their fault, bless them, but I've been sick. You know, Louis is 18 months old now. I've probably been sick more times in the past 18 months than probably like the 8 previous years. But as I say, that's life. It is what it is. I'm hoping it's short-lived. I don't feel too bad. The mornings are always that little bit worse, and then it tends to ease off a little bit as the day goes on. So fingers crossed, another maybe a day or two. It does mean that I'm taking a bit of time off the gym, which again is a little bit frustrating having just started shoot prep. But then I suppose the flip side of that, I'd rather get this illness out of the way at the very, very beginning than it happen, you know, midway through or towards the tail end, which when we're really starting to ramp things up. So hopefully we'll get this shifted. We'll get a couple of decent nights sleep, try and get a little bit of extra sleep because I won't have the 5 o'clock in the morning gym. And then, yeah, we'll see where we're at come Sunday. So usually I would have trained push today, pull tomorrow. Both of those sessions are probably going to be missed. Saturday is usually a rest day for me anyway. And then Sunday, ordinarily, Sundays is legs. So hopefully I'll feel better tomorrow, Saturday, and then be able to get back in for legs on Sunday. But we shall see. I'll keep you all posted. But yeah, a little bit of a frustrating start to the shoot prep, getting sick. But it is what it is. Time of year. We need summer to roll on pretty fucking quickly because I can't cope with this horrible, cold, dark weather for too much longer. What is good, guys? Hope you are all well. Back in the land of the living. Not the ideal start to shoot prep. First week of shoot prep and I get sick. But I am feeling a lot better. So that is a good sign. Yeah, it was just one of those. Shoot prep started on Tuesday, which was literally the last day that I recorded a video. I think it was, like the update I gave was that shoot prep was very much going to get underway. And then on the Wednesday evening, I started feeling pretty rough. Thursday and Friday really didn't feel very good at all. And then by the time we got to Saturday, I was feeling slightly better. Yesterday, which was Sunday, pretty much back to normal. I did manage to get back into the gym, although I didn't push myself overly so. I trained with Lara. We just did a little bit of a sort of full body, fairly eased our way back in, just to get the body moving. But I did feel okay. And then today, pretty much back to 100%. So this week is going to be, in many ways, the first full week proper. That said, diet was all on point. So that side of things always helps. I think people sometimes underestimate the diet as well. It's like, oh, well, if I can't go to the gym when I feel sick, what's the point? Diet makes a massive difference. So even though I'd only managed to get into the gym twice, and one of those was just a little bit of an ease my way back in session, which meant that I didn't get all that much cardio done, and my steps weren't the highest they've ever been either, just because I wasn't feeling good. I'm still about 1.5 pounds down. Yes, a good amount of that is going to be some of the sort of fullness, just where my food did come down, my carbs came down, and my body hasn't necessarily had the training stimulus to get that fullness into my muscles. But 1.5 pounds to kick things off in a week where I haven't been able to do a huge amount of exercise, we'll take that. So this coming week, very, very much looking forward to properly getting stuck in. Yeah, so the shoot is booked for May the 19th. That is the date that we're working towards. £1.5 off in the first week, as I've said. It means we've got about 13 weeks. And I probably want to get a good £20 off, I would say, if not a little bit more. You know, I want to be looking good. You know, I want to be using this as a real something to just push myself towards. Like, I think we all need those challenges, and a photo shoot's such a good way to do that. So yeah, about 13 weeks, probably between 20 and 25 pounds to come off. And it's going to get going properly this week. So I'll check in with Christian tomorrow as normal. Photos will obviously be there. I mean, I feel a fraction leaner. Some of that's probably in my head. But as I say, there is £1.50 come off. But there's also very little fullness happening at the moment. So this week is going to be the real test. Diet will be on point, cardio will get done, training is going to be pushed intensely, and we'll see where we're at next week. But as always, I'll update you tomorrow once I've had Christian's reply. My expectation, just given how this week has gone, my expectation is going to be very much that he's just going to say, look, let's properly get stuck in. It's one of those, you know, it's, in some ways I'd rather it happened in this first week, because at least that means I've got all of the time now to push, rather than it getting to, like, you know, a week or two before, starting to feel like shit at that point is never much fun. So the illness, fingers crossed, that's out of the way, and the rest of prep, we can just lock in, get focused, and do what needs to get done. So the check-in reply has been received, and we are making another little change. So just to make sure that we kick things off. So obviously I mentioned yesterday that I was about £1.50 down on average, but actually from the start weight to the weight that I've weighed in today, actually about £3.50 down. But we are talking 14 weeks away, and we want to make sure that we're ready. So we are going to push things a little bit harder. I will pop the pictures up, just so you can have a little look at those. And as I think I mentioned yesterday, I do feel a little bit tighter, but some of that I think is just coming from, you know, that fullness drop, that sense of sometimes when you're eating a lot of food, you know, you almost feel that little bit of just like a bloated sensation. Food comes down, and that naturally just makes you feel a little bit less of that. So yeah, the food is getting another little hit. So 25 carb off each day, so 100 calories down again. And also just bumping the cardio up. So 5 lots of 30 minutes of LISS style cardio. That is my personal preference when it comes to cardio. I'm quite happy to do that steady state, steady pace, get on an incline treadmill after my session and do my 30 minutes. I actually find it quite therapeutic in some ways. I tend to just stick a podcast on, reply to messages and stuff, and you know, that half an hour passes pretty quickly. So there'll be 5 of those happening after each of my training sessions. Steps continue to be, I mean, as high as they can be. Like a typical average daily step count for me is probably around 9 to 10,000. So given that food's getting pushed quite hard, we shouldn't see any issues of things continuing to move in the right direction. And obviously we're working towards the 19th of May now is the shoot date that has been locked in. So keep watching, I'll keep posting the updates. We'll keep making sure that I'm telling you exactly what's happening in terms of changes. You'll see the physique changing. And everything else is going to follow suit. So yeah, as of this week, another 100 calories coming off each of my training and my rest days, which is 25 carb off those. Cardio now at 5 lots of 30 minutes a week, LISS style cardio for me. And hopefully we'll continue to see the number on the scales trend downwards. I'm going to get leaner and leaner. And this is the fun bit about fat loss. I think sometimes a lot of people, myself included in the past, you know, when you're going through phases of growth, I think it's quite difficult sometimes to really like know if you're making progress or know if you're making progress in the right way, because typically, you know, body weight is trending up, body fat is going to increase, the body composition starts to get a little bit worse. And you almost get in your own head at those stages. And it is where having the right support behind you makes a huge, huge difference. with fat loss is often the complete opposite. Like fat loss, you can see and feel the difference pretty much week to week. And I think that's a really, really exciting thing. So as I say, what I would expect you to see are pretty obvious changes happening week to week here. But I'll keep you posted. I'll keep you updated. Managed to get back in the gym this morning as well. So a nice 5 o'clock in the morning delts and arm sessions. Little bit of an ease my way back in session, but ease my way back in for me means push myself as hard as I can, because I don't really know how to do it any other way. If I'm in the gym, I'm training hard. So, you know, I gave it a good go this morning. Back again tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock. And then, yeah, 5 sessions as well are happening. So I think I'd spoken through my split in the past, but my training split hasn't changed. So push, pull, legs, delts and arms, back and hams. Those are the 5 sessions I do across the week. Yeah, but other than that, the changes are there, and we'll see what happens next week.